Hi everyone, welcome back to the second round of my project for the circular shawl. So we left it that we did 2 chain here and that forms our first treble, and then what we're going to do is we're going to repeat the pattern. So that is just 3 treble into the next treble and then work 1 treble, 2 chain, 1 treble, and then we just need to keep repeating until the end. Okay, so I'm going to start doing this. This is where I deviate from the pattern a little bit, and the reason I deviate from the pattern is I'm not overly keen on the ribbon effect that it gives. So they tell you to work into the back of the loop. I actually work into both loops because that's what I prefer. Okay, so I've wrapped 2 bits of wool around my crochet hook, and I'm just going to pull this through to do my first treble. Okay, and then I'm going to do my next one because we're doing it into the same treble, and I've just split my wool. I'm going to go in here and pull this up through. Okay, and then I'm going to do my third one. Okay, and pull that through like this. And then into the top of my next one here, so I go into here, I'm going to pull through to form a treble, and then I am going to do 2 chain because this gives you a little bit of more diameter as you're building up your shawl. Okay, and then back in to do my final treble along that stitch there. Okay, and that is essentially just the pattern repeat. So we are just going to go around and do the rest of this here. So I'm going to go in there, okay, that's my first one, and then I've got my second one, and then my third one. I don't mind deviating from the pattern, like this is something I've done. This is pattern I've done before. This is why I was happy to do this on the video, just as a starter project really. But I do deviate sometimes if I feel that I prefer the way something looks from an accident that I've done. And that was how I did it before. It was just literally... I wasn't sure about the pattern, so I was just doing it, and I came across how to do it this way. I'm just going to move my cat because my cat is very wet and he is going to get all paw prints over everything. Right, so pick up this. It's really, really wet outside, and the animals come in pretty much every day and just leave little paw prints everywhere. Right, so that's 2 chain. And it's not good when you're working with cream wool, but just keep them out the way as much as I can. Then I'm going to do my 3 treble. So here, and you can see it's just forming around the pattern. Okay, and then we'll do that next one. So going into the top of the chain, and then again into the top of the chain. Okay, and then I'm going to go into my next one, which is now just a treble. Just undo a bit more wool. I'm going to do a treble, 2 chain, and a treble, when you've had like quite a hard day, this is quite a nice way to relax, to do different things. It just like you can switch your mind off and just really think about other things, or just count your stitches. That's quite often what I do. If I just want to switch off from everything, I just count my stitches as I go around, and I just repeat and repeat and repeat, just until my brain is just really just recharged again. I'm going to just go back in and do 1 treble, my 2 chain, and 1 treble, and hopefully she says, laughing, hopefully this is actually going to work out correctly with how our pattern repeat was. This is the thing that sometimes I don't always get it right. You know, I have to work it out a couple of times. Patterns sometimes are not the easiest to read. This one I find quite easy to read. I do have to, if I've not done crocheting for a while, I do have to go back and remind myself of some of the stitches, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually really good with YouTube now, because you can easily do that. Or if you're like myself, I've got some really good sort of like little books that I can just look at the pictures and work it out from there. And I find that quite handy to do, because I think sometimes you do just forget, unless you're doing this all the time. And I'm not, I'm just picking it up and putting it down as I go, and just sort of doing it to fill in evenings, really, when it's wet and cold outside and you've got the fire on and you're just trying to listen to a little bit of telly, or not that there's a lot on at the moment. And then this is my last one. So you can see I'm actually going into the base of the chain now. So, and this is just going to be 1 treble. Did I wrap that twice? No, I didn't wrap that twice. I need to wrap that twice and go into here, pull up a loop, do my two, pull up my loop again and again. And now I'm going to do my 2 chain to join my first chain here. So that is my first chain, and I'm kind of going into this chain, into sort of the back of it here, so that it creates like a nice little stitch that you can see and go through. And we're going to slip stitch that through, and then that is our second round, and I'm quite happy with that. I'm not sure I've got the tension 100% right, and Bertie's left some hairs, look, on my mat, but that's good. I'm pleased with that. Please join me again for round 3, and if you like what I've done, please like and subscribe. Have a really good evening, take care, and I'll see you next time. Thank you, bye.